Okay. Hey guys, it's Tom. So my top 10 favorite summer 2016 movies video is out. I'll put a link down in the description below. You can check it out. In that video, I mentioned that this summer was a hit and miss summer for movies. In that video, I talked about the hits. And in this video, we're going to talk about the misses. Yeah, guys, they can't all be winners. Not all the movies were great. Now, as you probably saw in my top 10 favorite video, I did not see every movie that was released in the summertime. I made a big list of movies that I did not see. These were movies that I saw and they let me down. Yeah. Guys, in this video, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 most disappointing summer 2016 movies. Now, let me just say this. What qualifies as a disappointing movie? Well, to me, a disappointing movie is a movie that I go into with some expectation. Maybe I set the bar a little too high and it ultimately does not satisfy. It's a movie that I really want to be good, that I have high hopes for, but it didn't deliver the way that I wanted it to. Now, some movies are not going to be on this list. For example, the new Ghostbusters movie. I didn't entirely hate that movie. I thought it was fine, but I knew it was going to be fine going in. And truth be told, I actually laughed a little more than I thought I would. So in a way, it was an improvement over what I was expecting. But a movie like that won't be on this list. Another good example is the movie Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. It's a silly comedy, and I knew exactly what it was when I went into it. And did I get a silly comedy? Yes, I did. So it doesn't qualify as a disappointing movie. These 5 movies, they're movies that I walked in thinking I'm going to get this, and I didn't. So that constitutes as a disappointing movie. And a second disclaimer that I must set is if you like any of these movies, by all means, that is totally cool. These are movies that I had an expectation or I had something in mind, and it didn't quite deliver it to me. So that's why I have to count it as a disappointment. So guys, let's just get right into it. I'll try not to hate too much on these movies because some movies on this list, they did have redeeming qualities. Actually, all of them really had redeeming qualities. So I'm not going to bash on these, and I don't like to outright say a movie's bad. I do try to be positive, but these weren't that great. So if I had to pick one word to describe each of these movies I'm going to talk about, the first word that comes to mind is disappointing. So, let's just get right into it because I don't want to spend too much time talking about these movies and just feeling sorry for myself and the time that I could have been spending doing something else. Yeah. Let's start. So coming in at number 5 is actually one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I was not really excited for this movie, but I was curious, and I saw it, and it didn't quite deliver. Didn't quite soar, I guess you could say. Number 5 is the Angry Birds movie. This movie, I was expecting it to be cute. I was expecting it to be innocent and fun and silly, and it kind of was all those things. But what really let me down with this movie, what I wasn't expecting, and not in a good way, was how fast this movie was. I mean, if you want to make the argument of it matches the feel of the game, it's a fast game. You want to just play it and play it and play it. Well, this movie it doesn't ever take a significant amount of time to breathe. It's just go go go, and it was like the animators were hyped on sugar, working on this movie. And I felt the same thing watching this movie. It was like I wanted to be like, okay, let's take a breath, and so in a way it was a little disappointing, and I didn't really laugh as much as I wanted to, and I don't think I really felt the feelings like I was supposed to, because I had a coworker that said this movie made them cry. I didn't really cry. It didn't move me. And usually I love animated movies. I love children's movies, and if they can make me cry, like Zootopia, like Wreck-It Ralph, then that's great. So I love to keep my mind open. This movie, it was just It was kind of stale in a way. It was very very fast. I never got a chance to breathe, so I never really had a chance to relate to the characters. It was just fast, fast, fast. Here's the next part of the story. Here's the next part of the story, and I was just like, you know what? It's like a roller coaster. I'm just gonna just sit back and ride it. Maybe not enjoy all the ride, but just ride it. So it constitutes as a disappointing movie. Now I put it at number five because while I wasn't super hyped for this movie, I was expecting it to be a a good kids movie, and overall, I thought it turned out to be decent. Would I really want to watch this movie ever again? Not really. If someone paid me to watch it again, would I? Yeah, probably. Some redeeming qualities. The voice cast was pretty spot on with Josh Gad as the really fast Yellow Bird. Jason Sudeikis as the Angry Bird. I thought did a really good voice. But yeah, just a pretty disappointing movie, and yeah, it's number five. Okay, I'm moving on. So coming in number four is a movie that I was kind of confused by, and I don't mean confused meaning the story, just kind of confused about sort of how it was made in a way. I'll explain. Coming in number four is Steven Spielberg's The BFG. The whole time I was watching this movie, I was confused by the fact that this it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie. Spielberg movies, they can have a lot of magic in them. Take E.T. for example. I don't think I felt the magic in the BFG. Mark Rylance is great as the BFG, coming off his success with Bridge of Spies, and he and Spielberg teamed up for that movie. Um, but the whole time I watched it, it really did not feel like a Spielberg movie to me. It really felt like a movie that I don't know, some other company would have made, that Disney would have made, but Spielberg wouldn't have been attached to direct it, if you know what I mean. So in a way, it was a little disappointing because I was expecting a whimsical, magical movie, and while I did enjoy some parts of it, and I'll get to some of the positives in a minute, the whole time, I swear, the whole time, I thought to myself, this is a Spielberg movie? I'm not feeling it. And another thing that really did not make it feel like a Spielberg movie, I don't really consider this a spoiler, but there are a lot of fart jokes in this movie. A lot of farting, and the whole time I could think was, Spielberg doesn't do this. What am I watching? This movie was almost like an enigma. I wasn't sure how to feel about it. Some positives. Mark Rylance, as I mentioned, the little girl. While she was, I didn't love her, but I felt she did a good job. This has to be like her first thing that she acted in. I thought the motion capture work was pretty good. The sets were really colorful, but the movie wasn't anything great. And with Spielberg, you want him to make a great movie, and this wasn't great. It was nothing inherently wrong with this. Well, okay. The one thing I said was felt wrong is that it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie, so that felt wrong. Also, the ending, I won't spoil it, but what they do, they get the attention of somebody, and then they help them fix this problem. There's a whole sequence where it just goes on way too long. I call it the Return of the Jedi syndrome. If you've ever seen Return of the Jedi, when Luke, Leia, and Han are captured by the Ewoks, there's a long time dedicated to this, and the whole time I'm thinking, you have a problem to solve. You have this spaceship that you had, or space portal, whatever, that you need to blow up. The same thing was with the BFG. There's this whole sequence where they're meeting this person, and it goes on way too long, and I'm like, guys, you're trying to solve a problem here. What is taking so long? And there's more fart jokes. Spielberg. I don't know what happened. Pretty disappointing movie. The reason why it's number four on this list is because I waited until the dollar theater to see this movie. I was so close to seeing this movie opening weekend, but it was opening 4th of July weekend, and I went to go visit my brother up in Nebraska, so I didn't see it, and I sort of missed it when it was in regular theaters. So when it came to the dollar theater, I was like, okay, I wanted to see it. I'll pay $1 to see it, and I don't mind the fact that I paid $1 to see it. Pretty disappointing movie. Okay, moving on from that. Coming in at number three is one of the most polarizing movies of this summer. Either you really liked it or you kind of hated it. And I'm in that section of I kind of liked it, but I can't ignore that it could have been better. Number three is the second DC film of the year, and that's Suicide Squad. This movie, I remember when this movie was coming out, there was so much press. There was so much press that was released about saying how bad the movie was before it was even released, and there was this big petition to shut down Rotten Tomatoes, the internet critic database, so to speak, because there was a genuine feeling of no, we had such high hopes for this movie. It can't be bad. You're saying it's bad? Shut up. I want it to be good. It wasn't that great. I remember I saw it after the reviews came out, and I said I still want to go see this movie. Because I thought it can't be that bad. I mean, I thought the critics did the same thing with X-Men Apocalypse. They gave that like a 48, a rotten score, and I remember thinking when I watched it, I was like, "What's wrong with this movie?" I mentioned it in my top 10 favorites video. It has a place in my top 10 for the summer. So I thought the same thing was going to apply for Suicide Squad. It came in at like a 27%, the same as Batman v Superman, and I thought, okay, it can't be that bad. Well, it wasn't that bad. But pretty disappointing. The things I liked about the movie, the things I think everyone liked. Will Smith as Deadshot, hilarious, such a badass character. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, very, very nice to look at. I know Jared Leto's Joker is sort of polarizing at this point. I really did like him as the Joker. He wasn't in the movie enough. I do agree with that. I would have liked to have seen more of him, and I would have liked to have seen more of the backstory with him and Harley. That would be a really cool movie, him corrupting her to fall in love with him and to, be just as evil and just as crazy as he is. That would have been a really cool psychological thriller movie. I would have loved to have seen that. I did like Jared Leto as the Joker. I wanted more of him. He was another positive. Amanda Waller, Viola Davis did really good. Ben Affleck, again as Batman. This guy's proving to me that he's going to be a great Batman in future installments. He was one of my, favorite parts about Batman v Superman. But why is Suicide Squad a disappointing movie to me? Well, it started out really promising. The introduction to all the characters, I felt, was really cool. You got to learn some cool things, what their powers were, some cool backstories. And then there were some things in the movie that really came and went, like Slipknot. He had like 2 lines, and then he was out of there. And then you had Killer Croc. He didn't say much. And then again with the Return of the Jedi syndrome, they go to fight the villain of the movie, shooting a big beam in the sky, and there's a whole sequence where they're dedicated to slowly walking around, and then they go into a bar and they talk, and the whole time I'm thinking, guys, the world is in trouble. What are you doing? It was the same syndrome. I can't stand that in movies because it makes me so fidgety. If you're gonna do that in a movie, do it right. This was it put the brake on the movie, and I was just like, guys, the movie's over there. What are you doing? So it was very disappointing to me. I wanted Suicide Squad to be great. It was on my list of my most anticipated movies of the year. I was so looking forward to it. I remember it last year. If you had asked me if I was more excited to see Suicide Squad or Deadpool, I would have said Suicide Squad. But now that both movies are out, I like Deadpool so much more. I think it's a better movie. And Suicide Squad, it should have been so much better. It should have been so much good. I was so looking forward to this movie, and it didn't deliver. Yeah, Suicide Squad is a disappointing movie. Do I hate it? No, I don't hate it. I would say if I had to pick on the spectrum where I am between hate and love, I'm somewhere past the halfway point and say I liked it. I did like it a little bit more than Batman v Superman, but I can't ignore that the movie had problems, and the bar I set was here, and the movie was like here or here, somewhere, and it's a disappointing movie. So moving on, let's get to number 2. Number 2 is a movie that I was really excited for, and this one's number 2 because I had not heard any reviews of this movie. I went totally blindfolded into see. Okay, no, I take that back. I saw one review I was on the Fandango website looking up showtime for this movie, and it showed that it was listed rotten. And I did the X-Men Apocalypse thing again. I was like, it can't be that bad. But it might have been warranted. Number two is Jason Bourne. Man, I was looking forward to this movie. My dad and I watched the original trilogy to prepare for this movie. And when I say watched, I mean watched. Neither of us, well, I hadn't seen it. I think he had seen it a long time ago. But we watched it. So much fun. Say what you want about the shaky cam. My eyes are gonna bleed every time I watch it. But they're famous action movies. And I love when a new movie is coming out that's a part of a franchise that is so beloved, because it gets people talking about the old movies and just remembering good times. This was the first Matt Damon Bourne movie in 9 years since Bourne Ultimatum in 2007. I have not seen the Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner. I hear it's pretty bad. But I was looking for this movie. We had just watched the trilogy, and I was like, yes, more Bourne, give it to me. And the film started off pretty promising. The pretty great motorcycle chase. And then the movie just seemed generic, really. It just seemed like, oh, let's put more people in a control room saying, where's the asset? Where's Jason Bourne? Let's have another evil government guy. You know, we had Chris Cooper, we had Brian Cox, we had Albert Finney, now we have Tommy Lee Jones. And here's more stuff that Jason Bourne forgot. I mean, it's like, guys, this is nothing new. Now, you can make the argument that the original trilogy is just like that. All the movies are very identical. And you know what? They are. I'm not going to lie. But this one felt unnecessary. And especially the fact that Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass, the director, both said they would not do another Bourne movie unless there was something new to contribute. There was something that they both felt was important. This was a story that needed to be told. This was not that movie. I'm sorry. There was another thing Jason Bourne forgot. Again. More evil government guys. Again. More cool action scenes. Again. More car chases. Again. What new stuff did you bring to this universe? I mean, there are new cast members. You had Tommy Lee Jones, Alicia Vikander. You have this really silly subplot about this app that this guy is launching, and that somehow bleeds into what Bourne is doing, what his mission is, what he's after. And there's a lot of time in the movie dedicated to this, to the point where I was getting bored and bored every time that it came up, because it just spent a little too much time on those scenes, and I just couldn't get into it. And yeah, the reason why this movie is number two on my list is because, like I said, I saw that one Rotten Tomatoes score that had like 57. It's rotten, and I was thinking it can't be that bad. So it was just the one review. But they weren't wrong. I walked out pretty disappointed, and another case of I don't think I will ever see this movie ever again. I mean, as of right now, it's hard to say. And my dad and I, we went to the Thursday night showing for this movie. We were excited. We bought the trilogy Blu-ray pack, and it had a free coupon for $8 off to go see Jason Bourne. Pretty cool deal. So we were pumped because we had this deal. We were going to go see it, the Thursday night showing. And if you know me, I love going to the Thursday night showing because it feels like an exclusive showing that you can go to. But man, oh man, I'll never forget. I walked out of the theater just going, I don't know. Didn't really like it that much. And I try not to be too harsh on movies, especially when I'm seeing it with someone. But that movie was not that great. Redeeming qualities: Matt Damon as Jason Bourne is great, as always. The action, there's a great car chase toward the finale of the movie. Tommy Lee Jones does great, as he always does. Alicia Vikander, however you pronounce her name, coming off her Oscar success with The Danish Girl. She's proving that she's a great actor. But there wasn't enough to save the movie. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's number two. Coming in at number one. Oh, okay. I gotta get a little fired up because this is number one for a very good reason. Number one is the movie that I completely went into totally blind. I had not seen any reviews. I was not that familiar with the source material, and I was excited to see this movie because it was going to be a gathering of friends, of comic book lovers. It was a Fathom event, so it was a very, we were very privileged to see it. And did it deliver? Number one is Batman: The Killing Joke. Oh my God, I'll never forget. I'll never forget. I had just gotten back from vacation, and a good buddy of mine, Garrett, we do our podcast together, and he's been on my channel a few times. He's a big Batman fan, and I knew he was going to go see it. And I said to him, "Hey, do you're still going to go see it? Which theater are you going to go to?" He was like, "Oh, I'm going to this theater this time." I was like, "Okay, I want to come with you. I'm not doing anything tonight. I hear The Killing Joke is a very great graphic novel. I want to see what it's about." And he's like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I came, and we're sitting in the theater. We're excited. The Fathom Events um, screening of the movie at AMC. There was a little introduction from Mark Hamill talking about how he got to voice the Joker. And then the movie starts with Batgirl literally saying, "I know this is not the movie that you wanted to see." And there's a good like 35-minute introduction to Batgirl that I later found out has nothing to do with The Killing Joke. Nothing. It's just there to make you feel bad for her character when things happen. Okay, but they couldn't just start the movie with The Killing Joke, the movie that which the freaking title is named after. Oh my God. Oh, I was angry, and I'm not even that familiar with the source material. This is how disappointing this movie was, and the people in my theater were groaning, were booing at things. I won't spoil, but things that they were mad at because it had nothing to do with The Killing Joke, or it was just executed so poorly. And we all walked out with our heads hanging low, and they asked me, "Well, what'd you think?" Because you're not familiar with the source material. I was like, "Guys, I don't think I liked that very much because it wasn't what I was expecting it to be, and you should, and that's kind of saying something because I don't have much expectation because I'm not familiar with the source material, and the people that were familiar with the source material were also saying, yeah, it wasn't what I expected it to be. That's really sad. This movie was just frustrating because it had some good parts in it. Kevin Conroy voicing Batman is great. Mark Hamill voicing the Joker is great. But there's a lot of time dedicated to this whole Batgirl subplot. Well, not even a subplot. It's the first 35 minutes of the movie, and it's like, who cares? I get that you want to build her character so that when things happen to her later in the movie, we feel bad. Well, I feel like we can still feel bad because of what happened to her. It's really hard to say it without spoiling it, but something's happened to her, and I would have felt bad had you just removed the first 35 minutes. Why? And then there's even a Fathom event thing after the movie where they talked about the musical score. Nobody wanted to watch it because we were all just so distraught and so disappointed that we all just walked out. It was just like, guys, that wasn't that great. And I remember I went to my friend and I said I need more. I need to see more Batman because this was not that great, and I want to feel relieved. I want to feel satisfied for good Batman. So he introduced me to the animated series. He showed me Year One and The Dark Knight Returns, and those were a lot better. But yeah, Batman: The Killing Joke is my number one because I went in there totally, not reading any reviews, so excited because everyone else was so excited. It was gonna be rated R, and what about this movie was rated R? That was my question. Yes, there was some blood, but there wasn't like any excessive cursing. There wasn't like excessive blood. It really could have been PG-13. So the R rating was it just, oh, it's R rating, it's gonna be graphic, and it really wasn't. It really wasn't all that graphic and not all that great. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have to talk about those movies ever again. Hopefully. So, guys, those are my top 5 most disappointing movies of summer 2016. Very hit or miss summer. A lot of movies I just straight up just didn't see because I just felt they were going to be bad. These were movies that I had expectations for, that I had hopes for, and they let me down. I can't call them bad, but I can call them disappointing. They were very disappointing. So, guys, what did you think? What are some films of this summer that disappointed you? Let me know all that in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos about movies and about music. And subscribe to my podcast, Triple Threat. I'll put a link down in the description below for that. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on letterboxd.com, where you can see where when I watch movies, how much I would rate them. And you can also see the separate lists that I've created in my videos, like this one, my top 10 favorite movies of the summer, and my top 10 favorite videos for last year. So guys, check all that out. I'm a little tired from hating on these movies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video.